The unexpected customer. Maya Chen wiped the sweat from her brow as she stared at the bubbling mixture in front of her. The small kitchen of her experimental restaurant Fusion was filled with an array of unusual equipment, molecular gastronomy tools, specially modified ovens, and her pride and joy, a custom-built flavor extraction system. Tonight marked her latest attempt at creating something revolutionary in the culinary world. The clock on the wall showed 2 a.m., but Maya barely noticed. After losing her position at a prestigious restaurant for being too experimental, she had poured her life savings into this small space in downtown Seattle. The rain pattered against the windows, creating a soothing backdrop to her work. "Just a few more drops," she muttered, carefully adding a mysterious iridescent extract she discovered at an obscure spice market. The liquid shimmered as it hit the surface of her experimental dessert, a creation she called Celestial Harmony, a seemingly simple chocolate sphere that contained layers of flavors designed to evolve as you ate it. The bell above her door chimed, startling her. Maya frowned. She was certain she'd locked up hours ago. Turning around, she found herself face to face with the most unusual customer she'd ever seen. The woman stood nearly 7 feet tall, with skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Her eyes were completely black, with tiny points of light that looked like stars. She wore what appeared to be a sleek silver bodysuit that seemed to move with her like liquid metal. Maya's first instinct should have been fear, but instead, she felt an overwhelming sense of curiosity. The stranger's head tilted slightly, examining Maya with equal interest. "Your establishment produces sustenance?" the visitor asked, her voice carrying an odd musical quality. Maya found herself nodding. "Yes, I'm a chef. Though actually closed right now." She trailed off as the stranger moved closer, seeming to float rather than walk. "I detect unusual molecular combinations. Your methods are unorthodox." The visitor's eyes fixed on the dessert Maya had been working on. "This creation, it emits a unique energy signature." Maya blinked, trying to process the strange way the woman spoke. "It's an experimental dessert. I've been working on new ways to combine flavors and textures. Would you like to try it?" The stranger's eyes seemed to sparkle more intensely. "Yes, I am designated Zaxtre, culinary researcher from a distant institution." Maya knew she should question this more, but something about Zaxre's presence made her want to share her creation. She carefully plated the celestial harmony, adding a final dusting of her special powder. As Zaxre took the first bite, something extraordinary happened. Her skin began to pulse with waves of color, and the tiny lights in her eyes started to dance. She made a sound that Maya could only describe as a musical gasp. This is impossible," Zaxre whispered. "You've somehow synthesized stellar essence in its purest form. How did you acquire this knowledge?" Maya stepped back, confused. "Stellar essence? I just experiment with different ingredients. That shimming extract I used, I found it at this tiny shop in Chinatown. The owner said it was very special, but..." Zaxre's expression became urgent. "You must understand, what you've created here isn't just food. It's a substance that my people have spent centuries trying to synthesize. It has properties that could change the course of interstellar relations." The reality of the situation finally hit Maya. "Your people, you're not human, are you?" Zaxtre's form shimmed, and for a brief moment, Maya saw her true appearance: crystalline structures and flowing energy in a vaguely humanoid shape. "No, I am not. And your discovery has just made you one of the most important humans in the galaxy." Before Maya could respond, a bright light flashed outside her restaurant. Zaxre's expression turned worried. "They've traced my signal. Maya Chen, you must make a choice now. You can stay here and forget this encounter, or you can come with me and help prevent an interstellar crisis. Your culinary skills might be the key to preventing a war." Maya looked around her small kitchen at the life she'd built from scratch. It was everything she'd worked for, but it had always felt like something was missing. She turned back to Zaxtre, a smile forming on her face. "Let me grab my spice kit." As they rushed toward the light, Maya clutched her bag of carefully collected ingredients. She had always believed food could bring people together. She just never imagined it would be people from different planets. The night sky opened up above them, and as they were lifted into what Maya now realized was a spacecraft, she caught one last glimpse of her little restaurant. Whatever happened next, she knew her life would never be the same. Her dream of revolutionizing cuisine was about to become much bigger than she'd ever imagined. The last thing she saw before the ship's doors closed was another group of figures approaching her restaurant, their forms decidedly non-human. She had made her choice just in time. Now she just had to figure out how to cook for an interstellar audience. First contact cuisine. The interior of Zaxary's ship was unlike anything Maya had imagined. Smooth, pearlescent walls pulsed with soft light, and what appeared to be holographic displays floated in midair. But what caught Maya's attention most was the ship's galley, if you could call it that. Strange devices that looked more like scientific equipment than cooking tools lined the walls. "Your food preparation area?" Maya asked, running her hand over what appeared to be a temperature control unit. Zaxary made a musical sound that Maya interpreted as laughter. "We don't cook in the way humans do. Our sustenance is typically synthesized for maximum efficiency. That's why your creation is so remarkable. You've achieved something through intuition that our scientists couldn't accomplish with centuries of research." Maya unpacked her spice kit, carefully arranging her precious ingredients. "So tell me more about this stellar essence. What makes it so special?" Zaxary's form shimmered as she adjusted some controls on the ship's console. Stellar essence is a compound that facilitates understanding between different species. It allows beings to temporarily share sensory experiences, emotions, memories. In its pure form, it's incredibly rare and unstable, but somehow you've managed to stabilize it in your dessert. The shimmering extract, Maya mused, pulling out the small vial. The shop owner said it came from a meteor crater. I thought he was just being dramatic. "May I?" Zaxary held out her hand. Maya passed her the vial, watching as the alien held it up to one of the floating displays. Strange symbols scrolled across the screen. "Fascinating. You've combined it with other elements that act as natural stabilizers. Your human cooking techniques have accidentally solved a problem that has plagued our scientists for generations." A sudden alarm blared through the ship, making Maya jump. Red symbols flashed across the displays. "We have company," Zaxary said grimly. "The Harvester faction. They're the ones who've been searching for stellar essence. If they discover what you can do, then let's give them something else to think about," Maya said, already pulling ingredients from her bag. "You said this essence allows beings to share experiences. Well, I'm a chef. Let's share some human experiences they won't forget." Over the next few hours, as their ship dodged and weaved through space, Maya worked. She combined her special extract with different ingredients, creating an array of unique dishes. Zaxary helped her understand how the alien equipment worked, and together they created something entirely new, a fusion of human cuisine and alien technology. "There," Maya said, putting the finishing touches on her creation. "I call it Earth's memory. It contains flavors from every continent combined with the essence. When they taste it, they'll experience Earth through human eyes." Zaxary finished, her star-filled eyes wide with wonder. "Maya, this is brilliant, but also incredibly dangerous. Are you sure?" Maya squared her shoulders. "In my experience, the best way to understand someone is to share a meal with them. Plus," she added with a grin, "no one's ever died from my cooking. Well, except maybe that one food critic's career." The ship shuddered as a larger vessel appeared alongside them. Zaxary's form tensed. "They're initiating docking procedures. We can't outrun them anymore." "Then let's invite them to dinner," Maya said, arranging her dishes on what she hoped was the alien equivalent of a serving tray. "You said your people value efficiency. Well, let's show them there's value in taking the scenic route." The docking bay doors opened with a hiss of pressurized air. 3 figures entered, tall, crystalline beings with sharp angles and pulsing cores of energy. They moved with military precision, scanning the ship with devices Maya didn't recognize. Researcher Zaxtray. The lead figure's voice resonated through the chamber. You have violated multiple protocols. Our sensors detect unauthorized Earth substances. Surrender them immediately. Zaxtray stepped forward, her form straight and dignified. Greetings, harvesters. Before you proceed with your duties, my human companion has prepared a diplomatic offering. A demonstration of why Earth should not be merely harvested for resources, but understood. The harvesters paused, their crystalline forms reflecting the ship's lights. The leader spoke again. Your delay tactics are inefficient. We will. Oh, just try the food, Maya interrupted, stepping forward with her tray. I promise it'll be the most efficient way to understand what we're talking about. Something in her tone, perhaps the universal language of a confident chef, made them hesitate. The leader reached for one of Maya's creations, a small sphere that swirled with colors like a miniature galaxy. The moment it touched their crystalline form, the sphere dissolved, and the harvester's entire body lit up with swirling colors. The other 2 harvesters moved forward in alarm, but their leader held up a hand. These sensations, the harvester's voice had lost its harsh edge. I taste summer rain on warm concrete, children's laughter, the feeling of sand between toes, the satisfaction of sharing food with loved ones. How is this possible? Maya smiled. That's Earth. That's humanity. We're inefficient and complicated and emotional, but that's what makes us special. And maybe that's what makes this essence work in our food. We don't try to control it. We just let it enhance what's already there. The harvesters huddled together, communicating in rapid pulses of light. Finally, the leader turned back to them. We must reevaluate our assessment of Earth's value. This requires further study. Researcher Zaxtray, you and your human companion will come with us to present your findings to the Council. As they were escorted to the larger ship, Zaxtray leaned close to Maya. You've done something unprecedented. No one has ever made the harvesters question their methods. Maya grinned, already planning her next creation. Never underestimate the power of a good meal. Now, tell me more about this council's taste preferences. I have some ideas for the menu. The stars streaked past the ship's windows as they headed toward an adventure Maya could never have imagined when she opened her little restaurant. But then again, the best recipes often came from unexpected combinations. The Galactic Kitchen. 6 months after her presentation to the council, Maya found herself in charge of the most unique culinary school in the galaxy. The Stellar Culinary Academy, as it had been named, occupied a massive space station orbiting a peaceful binary star system. The station's design reflected its purpose, a perfect blend of functionality and artistry, with kitchen labs equipped with both Earth-style cooking equipment and advanced alien technology. Today, Maya stood before her most diverse class yet. 20 beings from different species gathered around a central demonstration area. Among them was the former Supreme Harvester, now known simply as Nova, their crystalline form having permanently retained some of the colors from Maya's perspective-altering dish. Today, Maya announced, adjusting her chef's coat, now modified with special temperature controls for working with extreme heat and cold. We're going to tackle one of humanity's most beloved comfort foods, but with a galactic twist. Everyone, welcome to Pizza Making 101. Zaxtray, who had become both Maya's teaching assistant and something more personal over the months, projected a holographic image of a traditional pizza above the workspace. Notice the basic elements: a bread base, sauce, toppings, and protein sources. The beauty of this dish is its adaptability. A gaseous student named Aether raised what might have been a hand. But Chef Maya, some of us don't consume solid matter. How can we experience this pizza? Maya grinned. That's where our latest breakthrough comes in. Zaxtray, would you demonstrate? Zachary activated a device they developed together, the molecular memory translator. This allows us to convert physical food into pure energy patterns while retaining all the emotional and experiential elements that make Maya's cooking special. The demonstration proceeded, with Maya showing how to make the perfect pizza dough while simultaneously working with the MNT to create equivalent experiences for non-solid beings. She had learned that cooking for a galactic audience required thinking in multiple dimensions. Remember, she explained while kneading dough, the key to good pizza, like any dish, is love. The stellar essence amplifies emotions, so your state of mind while cooking is crucial. Nova, who had become one of her most enthusiastic students, was carefully forming crystalline structures that mimicked the pattern of cheese. I never understood the human phrase made with love before. Now I realize it's not just sentiment, it's a crucial ingredient. As the class progressed, something unexpected happened. The station's alert system suddenly activated, bathing everything in pulsing red light. Zachary rushed to check the communication panel. "Maya," she called out, her tone urgent, "we have a situation. A ship from the Void Collective has just dropped out of hyperspace nearby." Maya's heart skipped. The Void Collective was a notorious group that opposed any form of interspecies cooperation. They believed each species should remain isolated, preserving what they called cosmic purity. "Everyone stay calm," Maya instructed her class. "Continue working on your dishes. Zachary, what are they saying?" The communication panel crackled to life, and a cold, echoing voice filled the room. "This is the Void Collective. Your attempt to contaminate pure species with human emotions and experiences ends now. Surrender your stellar essence research, or we will take it by force." Maya looked at her students, beings from across the galaxy who had come together to share and learn. She thought about how far they'd come, how many barriers they'd broken down through the simple act of cooking together. "Nova," she called out, "is your crystalline pizza structure stable?" The former harvester nodded. "Yes, chef. Why?" Maya smiled, a plan forming. "Because we're about to create a special delivery. Everyone, gather your dishes. We're going to show the Void Collective what happens when you threaten a kitchen during service hours." What followed was a flurry of activity as Maya and her students modified their pizzas into what she called a peace offering. They combined their various cooking methods, physical, energy-based, and crystalline, into a single unified dish. The stellar essence they used was carefully calibrated to share not just one experience, but the collective joy and harmony they'd found in cooking together. When the Void Collective's representatives eventually boarded the station, expecting to find fear and submission, they instead found Maya standing calmly in her kitchen, a shimmering, multi-dimensional pizza floating before her. "Before you do anything drastic," she said, "I insist you try this. It's a special recipe we just developed. We call it the Unity Slice." The Void leaders hesitated, their dark forms swirling with suspicion, but the aroma, somehow perceptible even to non-physical beings, was irresistible. Against their better judgment, they sampled the dish. The effect was immediate and profound. The Unity Slice contained not just the essence of pizza, but the experiences of every student who had helped create it, their stories, their growth, their newfound connections. It carried the memory of former enemies becoming friends, of barriers breaking down over shared meals, of understanding blooming in unexpected places. The Void leaders' forms began to shift, dark surfaces cracking to reveal light within. Their rigid ideology couldn't withstand the pure, unfiltered experience of cosmic harmony achieved through culinary collaboration. "This," one of them spoke, their voice transformed from cold to wondering, "this is not contamination. This is completion." Maya nodded, already pulling out fresh ingredients. "Would you like to learn how to make it yourselves? My next class starts in 10 minutes, and I always have room for more students." As the former Void leaders took their places among her students, Maya caught Zachary's eye and winked. They had just achieved another victory for peace through cooking. The Galactic Kitchen was proving to be more than just a school, it was becoming a force for change in the universe. Now, Maya addressed her expanded class, who wants to learn about dessert. The enthusiasm that filled the room transcended all species barriers. In that moment, Maya knew that her little experiment with a strange extract had grown into something far more significant than she could have imagined. She was no longer just a chef, she was a bridge between worlds, one recipe at a time. A recipe for revolution. 1 year into running the Stellar Culinary Academy, Maya faced her biggest challenge yet. Word of her success had spread throughout the galaxy, and now she was preparing for the first ever intergalactic food festival. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds would attend, including several species that had never interacted before. The pressure cooker's really on this time, Maya muttered, reviewing holographic plans for the event. The station had been expanded to accommodate the festival, with new wings dedicated to different planetary cooking styles. Zaxtery, now officially Maya's partner in both culinary and personal matters, floated nearby. "You're worried about the quantum spice traders," she observed. Maya nodded. The quantum spice traders had emerged as a powerful force in the galaxy, controlling the flow of rare ingredients including stellar essence. They weren't happy about Maya's methods of freely sharing cooking knowledge. "They're threatening to cut off our supply," Maya admitted. "They say we're devaluing their products by teaching everyone how to use them." Nova, who had become the Academy's head of crystalline cuisine, formed beside them. "Perhaps it's time we showed them what we've really learned here." Maya raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "We've been so focused on using stellar essence to share experiences," Nova explained, their crystalline form shimmering with excitement. "But what if we could create new ones? Experiences that have never existed before." The idea sparked something in Maya's mind. She rushed to her private kitchen lab, Zaxtery and Nova following close behind. The lab was a testament to how far they'd come. Earth pots and pans shared space with quantum heating units and consciousness-capturing crystals. "What if," Maya said, pulling out ingredients, "we create a dish that doesn't just share memories, but creates them? Something that shows everyone at the festival what we could achieve if we all worked together instead of staying divided." For the next week, Maya and her team worked tirelessly. They combined techniques from every species that had studied at the Academy. Crystalline structures held energy patterns, which contained essence-infused ingredients, all wrapped in a quantum field that made the dish accessible to any form of life. The day of the festival arrived. The station buzzed with energy as beings from across the galaxy arrived. The quantum spice traders made their presence known, their dark matter ships looming outside the station's windows. Maya stood at the central demonstration area, surrounded by her students and colleagues. Before her was their creation, a dish they called Unity's Dream. It looked different to each observer. To solid beings, it appeared as a shimmering sphere of constantly shifting colors. To energy beings, it was a complex pattern of quantum resonances. To crystalline life forms, it was a perfectly structured lattice of light. "Welcome, everyone," Maya addressed the gathered crowd. "Before we begin our festival, I'd like to share something with you. This dish represents everything we've learned here at the Academy. It's not just food, it's a possibility." The quantum spice traders' representatives pushed forward. "You were warned, Chef Chen. This unauthorized use of trading resources ends now." Maya smiled calmly. "Try it first. If you still want to shut us down afterward, we won't resist." Something in her confidence made them hesitate. Finally, their leader stepped forward and consumed a portion of Unity's Dream. The effect was immediate and unprecedented. The dish didn't just share a memory or experience, it created a new one, a shared vision of what the galaxy could become. Every being who tasted it experienced a same moment, a future where boundaries between species dissolved, where knowledge flowed freely, where the joy of creation and sharing transcended all barriers. The traders' leader stumbled back, their form flickering with emotion. This is impossible. We've worked with stellar essence for centuries. How did you achieve this?" Because we didn't try to control it, Maya explained. We worked with it, combined it with the one force more powerful than any ingredient: creativity. Every student here contributed something to this dish. It's not about the essence anymore. It's about what we can achieve together. The festival hall erupted in discussion as more beings sampled Unity's dream. The quantum spice traders huddled together, their previous hostility replaced by intense curiosity. Finally, their leader approached Maya again. "We have been short-sighted," they admitted. Perhaps there is room for a partnership. Your academy's methods clearly have merit." Maya grinned. "I have a better idea. Why don't you join us? We have a new advanced class starting next week. Bring your knowledge of quantum spices, and we'll show you how to use them in ways you never imagined." As the festival proceeded, something remarkable happened. Traditional barriers between species began to break down. Beings that had never communicated before found themselves sharing recipes and techniques. The station became a hub of spontaneous collaboration and creativity. Zaxri found Maya in her kitchen late that night, after most guests had retired to their quarters. "You've done it again," she said, her form glowing with pride. "You've turned a potential conflict into a feast." Maya looked out at the stars, thinking about how far she'd come from her little Seattle restaurant. "You know what the best part is? This is just the beginning. Imagine what we'll cook up next." Nova materialized nearby, carrying what appeared to be a crystalline cookbook. Speaking of next, the quantum traders asked if we could teach them how to make pizza. Maya laughed, already reaching for her apron. "Well, let's get started. After all, the galaxy's not going to feed itself." As she began gathering ingredients, Maya reflected on how her life had changed. She'd started out just wanting to create interesting flavors, and now she was helping reshape the very fabric of galactic society, one dish at a time. The stars twinkled outside, and somewhere in the station, a new student was discovering the joy of cooking for the first time. The revolution she'd started wasn't one of violence or power, but of sharing, learning, and growing together. And it was delicious. The secret ingredient. 2 years into running the Stellar Culinary Academy, Maya faced an unexpected crisis. Students began reporting that their dishes were losing their emotional resonance. The stellar essence, which had been the foundation of their interspecies culinary revolution, was becoming less effective. "It's like the magic is fading," Maya explained to the emergency council meeting. Representatives from every major species sat around the quantum conference table, their forms reflecting their concern. "Could it be contamination?" asked Nova, their crystalline form dulled with worry. Zaxri pulled up holographic data streams. "No, we've analyzed every batch. The essence is pure, but something fundamental has changed." Maya stood at her test kitchen, surrounded by failed experiments. Dishes that once sparked joy and understanding now barely registered an emotional response. She picked up a vial of stellar essence, watching it shimmer. "Maybe," she said slowly, "we've been thinking about this all wrong. We've relied so heavily on the essence that we've forgotten what made our first successes special." She thought back to that first night in her Seattle restaurant, when she'd accidentally created something extraordinary. What was different then? "I have a theory," Maya announced. "But to test it, I need everyone to clear the kitchen. Everyone except Zaxri." Once they were alone, Maya turned to her partner. "Do you remember when we first met? When you tasted my dessert?" Zaxri's form rippled with the memory. "Of course, it changed everything." "But why?" Maya pressed. "What was different about that first dish?" "I had never experienced anything like it," Zaxri said. "It was so personal, so full of your—" She stopped, her form brightening with sudden understanding. Maya nodded. "Exactly. I wasn't trying to create an interstellar masterpiece. I was just doing what I loved, putting my heart into my cooking. We've been so focused on the technical aspects of using stellar essence that we forgot the most important ingredient." Over the next few days, Maya implemented a radical change in the Academy's curriculum. Instead of focusing on the proper use of stellar essence, she had each student cook something personal, something that mattered to them. The results were extraordinary. A gaseous being from the nebula cluster created a dish that shared the experience of their first solar dance. A crystalline student crafted a dessert that conveyed the joy of their metamorphosis. "I have something to share with you," she said, revealing a simple covered dish. "This isn't made with stellar essence. It's just a recipe my grandmother taught me, made with love and memory." One by one, she served the simple earth dish to the council members. As they tasted it, something remarkable happened. Without the essence to facilitate sharing, each being experienced something different, but equally powerful. "I taste security," said one, "the feeling of being cared for." "I experience tradition," said another, "the passing of knowledge through generations." "This is what real cooking is about," Maya explained. "It's not about the fancy ingredients or special effects. It's about sharing a part of ourselves. The stellar essence just lets us do it more directly. But the emotion, the connection, that comes from us." She gestured to her students who had gathered at the chamber's edges. "Look at what we've achieved. Beings who once couldn't communicate now share meals together. Former enemies teach each other their sacred recipes. We're not losing our privacy or our individuality. We're choosing to share, to understand, to grow." The council chambers fell silent as her words sank in. Finally, the head counselor spoke. "Perhaps," they said, "we have been too hasty in our judgment. Chef Chen, would you be willing to demonstrate this traditional cooking method to the council?" Maya grinned. "I thought you'd never ask. Who wants to learn how to make chocolate chip cookies?" The tension in the chamber broke as council members actually volunteered. Soon, the formal meeting had transformed into an impromptu cooking class. As Maya guided beings from across the galaxy in the art of cookie making, she caught Zaxari's eye. Her partner was beaming with pride. "You know what this means?" Zaxari asked later, as they watched various species attempt to perfect their cookie techniques. Maya nodded, surveying the scene of interstellar cooperation and learning. "We finally found the real secret ingredient." "Love," Zaxari guessed. "Better," Maya said with a smile. "Choice. When beings choose to share, to connect, to understand each other, that's more powerful than any essence we could discover." Around them, the academy continued to evolve, not just as a school, but as a symbol of what was possible when different species chose to come together, to share their experiences, and to create something new. And somewhere in the kitchen, a new batch of cookies was ready to come out of the oven, filling the station with the universal language of freshly baked happiness. The final course. 3 years after Maya's first encounter with Zaxari, the Stellar Culinary Academy had become the heart of a galactic cultural revolution. But on this particular day, Maya stood in her original Seattle restaurant, now preserved as a historic site, staring at the spot where it all began. "Feeling nostalgic?" Zaxari asked, her phone shimmering in the early morning, lights streaming through the windows. "Just thinking about how one experimental dessert changed everything," Maya replied, running her hand along the counter. Today was special. Earth had finally been officially invited to join the Galactic Alliance, and the Academy would host the ceremonial feast. Representatives from every Earth nation would meet beings from across the cosmos for the first time. "Are you ready for this?" Nova materialized beside them, their crystalline form now permanently exhibiting the warm colors of understanding they gained through Maya's teachings. Maya smiled, picking up her well-worn spice kit. "Time to cook the most important meal of my life." Back at the Academy station, preparations were in full swing. The main hall had been transformed into a celebration of both Earth and alien cuisines. Students from every species worked together, creating dishes that bridged the gap between worlds. Chef Maya called out Ida, the gaseous being who'd become one of her most innovative students. "The quantum flavor matrices are calibrated for the human palate." Maya moved through the kitchen, checking preparations. Each dish told a story, not just of its ingredients, but of how far they'd all come. The quantum spice traders, once their opponents, had contributed their rarest spices. The former Void Collective members had designed special serving vessels that made their energy-based dishes accessible to solid beings. As the hour of the ceremony approached, Maya gathered her team for one final briefing. "Today isn't just about food," she said, looking at the diverse group before her. "It's about showing humanity that they're not alone in the universe, and showing the universe what humanity can bring to the table. Let's make it count." The ceremony began with Earth's delegates arriving through a specially constructed quantum gateway. Maya watched their faces as they took in the impossible sight of beings from across the galaxy working together in a kitchen. "Welcome," she addressed them, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "To celebrate this historic occasion, we've prepared a feast that tells the story of both Earth and the greater galaxy. Each dish is a chapter in our shared future." The menu was a journey through space and time. It started with traditional Earth dishes, each enhanced with subtle touches of stellar essence to share their cultural significance. Chinese dumplings carried the weight of family traditions, Italian pasta spoke of community gatherings, Indian curries shared the warmth of home. Then came the fusion courses, Earth ingredients prepared using alien techniques, and alien delicacies adapted for human consumption. The quantum spice traders presented a dish that let humans safely experience the taste of starlight, while Nova's crystalline team created edible structures that sang with flavor. But it was the final course that Maya had worked on personally. She called it Tomorrow's Promise. "This dessert," she explained as servers brought it out, "contains no stellar essence. Instead, it's made with something more powerful, hope." The dessert looked different to each being who saw it. To humans, it appeared as a shimmering sphere that reflected their own dreams of the future. To energy beings, it was a perfect pattern of possibility. To crystalline life forms, it was a structure of infinite potential. As each guest tasted it, the room filled with a profound silence, followed by a wave of understanding. Without any magical essence, without any special technology, they all shared a moment of pure connection. The United Nations Secretary-General stood, visibly moved. "Ms. Chen, Chef Maya, you've shown us something extraordinary today. Not just the wonders of the galaxy, but the power of bringing people, beings, together through food. Earth would be honored to join the Galactic Alliance." Applause erupted throughout the station in all its various forms, from human clapping to crystalline chiming to energy pulse waves. Later that night, after the delegates had departed and the kitchen was quiet, Maya found herself back in her private lab with Zaxari. "You did it," Zaxari said softly. "You've changed the galaxy, one recipe at a time." Maya laughed, pulling out a familiar mixing bowl. "We did it. All of us. Now, want to help me experiment with a new recipe? I was thinking about what happens if we combine quantum physics with soufflé." Always pushing boundaries, Zaxari's form glowed with affection. "That's what I love about you." As they began working on their latest culinary experiment, Maya reflected on her journey. From a struggling chef in Seattle to a bridge between worlds, she discovered that the greatest recipes weren't just about ingredients. They were about bringing people together, about sharing experiences, about creating connections. The station hummed quietly around them, a testament to what was possible when beings chose to share not just their food, but their hearts. Outside the window, Earth glowed blue and beautiful, no longer alone in the cosmic darkness, but part of a greater community. And in kitchens across the galaxy, beings of all forms were discovering the joy of cooking, not just for sustenance, but for connection. The Stellar Culinary Academy had become more than a school. It was a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the vast expanse of space, everyone had a place at the table. Maya smiled as she worked, already planning tomorrow's lessons. After all, in cooking as in life, there was always something new to discover, always another recipe to perfect, always another heart to touch through the simple act of sharing a meal. The adventure that had begun with an accidental bite of dessert had transformed into something greater than she could have imagined. But then again, the best recipes often came from unexpected ingredients, and the future was looking absolutely delicious. "Now," she said, reaching for a nearby quantum whisk, "who's ready for dessert?"